PODCAST. This is episode number 7. Today, my guest is Nathan Harpster. My guest is from Phoenix, Arizona. He's been a firefighter for 18 years. He's a father of 2 children, and he's been married for 15 years. So, Nate, dude, thank you for coming on. I've never personally met Nate, but I just follow him on Instagram. And guys, if your actions align with my beliefs, if you're consistent as I am, you have my respect, right? Because you can't fake that. And people don't understand that the message is way bigger than who we are as people, right? The message to help people, to show people what works for us and that it can work for them is what the goal of life is. On top of social media, you can reach so many people. So, Nate, thank you for coming on, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. I've been following you and you inspire, I'm sure you inspire a lot of people, but when I see your posts, that's what I love about our community and those of us that are out there getting after it day after day. We kind of feed off of each other. We see someone post something, you're like, all right, yep, I'm up, I'm going. And I'm not immune to that, those times where I'm like, oh, let's see what Julian's doing. Let's see what this guy's doing. Okay, all right, I'm up. Let's go. So thank you.
We got a bunch of hitters. Brad from Reliant Fitness. We have John Spera. There's so many people that are killing it, right? And they're just straight killers in not just fitness, but faith, mindset, and wellness. And I want to dive into that. You are not young, right? How old are you currently?
I'll be 47 in July.
Okay, and what's your position at your fire department?
Backseat firefighter paramedic.
Cool. So what is your thought process on being that position, which is really just a workhorse?
Yeah, I mean, I get this question a lot. I get like, hey, how come you haven't promoted, or are you taking the captain's test? And to me, I've always wanted to be a firefighter, man. I always wanted to be that worker. Do I love leading? Yes. But do I also feel that you can lead from the backseat of a fire truck? Absolutely. There's leadership roles in each position. Our truck happens to have 5 guys on it. We're downtown Phoenix. We're at Station 1. And I think what makes a truck cohesive and badass is when that captain can look over his left shoulder and he knows the guys in the back seat got it figured out. They can do the job. They're fit. They've been on for a while. He doesn't have to worry about what they're doing, especially on the front end of fire. As a captain, you're going to hop off, give your on-scene report. You're going to be managing a whole bunch of not task level shit right off the bat. You have to rely on your crew to be able to handle that. And when you have a good back seat like we do, the captain doesn't have to worry about that. So I take pride in providing that kind of value to my captain.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important. Like I said, I've always wanted to be a fireman, and I've always wanted to just be that guy that's pulling the hose off the truck and doing the job. And so yeah, obviously at 47, you have to be friggin' in shape to do that. And I got another 10 years, and I don't plan on promoting, so I better do what I say I'm doing and fulfill the commitment to myself to be the best shape I can so that I can do the job and so I can enjoy retirement. That's the other key.
Yes, sir. So let's talk about what you just said. I love what you just said. You said, keep the commitment to myself. So many people have the wrong mindset. And the mindset that they have is that I'm going to do this for the citizens. I'm going to do this for my department. You guys got it all wrong. You got to do it for yourself. You have to make yourself a priority. The moment you make yourself a priority, you set boundaries, you actually instill habits and discipline to develop yourself into the best version, you become proud. When you become proud, you become confident. When you're confident, you now can help the world, not just the fire department, the people you work with. Like, it's bigger than that. And Nate, I don't know if you know this, man, but you are helping so many people just by your actions. And people tell me all the time, like, hey, Julian, you're super inspirational. I'm like, I'm nothing special. I'm really not. But the world we live in now, hard work has become scarce. It's just And it's not even hard work, because I think a lot of people work hard and don't ever progress to their goals, or do anything that's amazing, right? I think it's more than hard work. I think the intention behind your hard work has to be right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, it does. Yeah, you have to be authentic in what in what your goals are and what your goals are for yourself. And I think you're 100% right, man. Like my main goal, when you really boil it down, is to yes, provide value to my truck to be able to do the job. But I want to be able to, day one, I'm sure when you got hired, you remember walking in the station, you're filled with piss and vinegar, you're ready to rock and roll, you're healthy, I'm gonna kick ass at this job, boom, yeah, let's do this. I at 18 years now, looking on kind of on the downside of my career, right? Not physically, not mentally, any of that, but just time wise,
Absolutely.
right? I want to have that same piss and vinegar when I hang up my turnout coat for the last time and walk out those bay doors. I want to have that same health, that same, just fervor for life when I leave, because I want to enjoy my retirement. I want to enjoy my family. And number one, I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I want anybody taking care of me,
So
So that commitment has so many different branches and arms that reach out. But ultimately, if you really boil it down, we all want to enjoy our retirement. We all want to make it out of here healthy. We don't want to be that statistic of somebody, you know, 6 months later after they retire dying. That's bullshit. I don't want to do that.
no, so let me ask you, man, and this is a very, very hard thing to live a healthy career. Live a
Yeah.
career with wellness as a priority, with fitness as a priority, and both of them. Because I want you guys all to understand. Um, just because you're fit doesn't mean you're healthy, and just because you're healthy doesn't mean you're fit, right?
Hmm.
So there, wellness and fitness are two completely different things, and it's that mind, body, and spirit, where we have to have them all aligned over a long period of time to have that healthy lifestyle. How how have you done it, man? To tell me what the secret is, because we're firemen, right? Like we work at a firehouse. Complacency is everywhere. People accept what life throws at them, and they kind of just don't fight back. Most
Hmm.
people, they just say, I guess this is how it is. Eating healthy is too hard. I'm overweight. So how do you do it, man? How have you done it?
Well, and so honestly, I wasn't always like I came into the job real healthy, real fit and young. So when you're young, you get away with a lot of stuff. Like we all know this, right? We can eat whatever we want. You can and it doesn't it seems that it doesn't matter. But what I've come to find out and figure out, maybe with a little bit of age comes a little bit of wisdom. I'm no Yoda by any means. Like I can't rip off some legit quote that I read even yesterday, But what I can tell you is that over a career, you get microdosed
Mm,
with so much garbage. You get microdosed with sleep deprivation. You get microdosed with those, Oreos sitting on the counter, at the station kitty. You get overdosed with, or not over, well, you get overdosed with Oreos, but you get microdosed with with all the exposures that we have from the fires, the stresses that we have, and then if you don't start addressing those things early on, you just start on this kind of downward trend of you see that 5, 10 year firefighter starting to put on the extra weight, starting to get a little soft. And I honestly found myself in that situation. Like, and what really changed my whole mindset around wellness was when my father passed in 2008. So he died from esophageal cancer. He was by all accounts, a healthy guy, standard American diet. Was an athlete back in the day. He was a semi-pro football player. big dude, strong dude. And he got esophageal cancer, stage 4 when he found it, and he passed away, too young, like at 60.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
And so I started looking at that, and then I saw a picture of myself. If I can get it to you, I'll get it to you. But I was like, I was holding up a fish with my daughter, and I was doughy. I was skinny fat, and I didn't feel bad, but your exterior can really be a good indicator of what's going on inside your body. And to me, when I saw that, man, the kind of light bulb went off, and I'm like, okay, my dad passed from cancer. He didn't have half the exposures I did. He did not have sleep issues, sleep deprivation issues. He didn't have half the stresses that we do with our job. How am I setting myself up for my family, for myself in the long run? Am I being an asset to my crew? And the answer was no. You need to change something. And from that kind of point on, I dedicated myself. I made a commitment to myself to change, my habits and my rituals every day. And that was it, man. Once you get that in your head and you get out of your own way, like, you can absolutely change your circumstance. That whole excuse of I can't eat healthy at the fire station, frankly, it's bullshit. You absolutely can. Bring your own food. I do. I mean, listen, I still drop for chow every shift, even though I bring my own food. If I need to draw from that and make something up, I will. If it's completely garbage, I'll just eat my own stuff.
Right.
Still eat with the crew. It just takes that level of commitment to your health to make that change. And then guys see that. And sometimes you get razzed about, oh, bring in your own food, bring in your own food. It's like, yeah. And then you always get somebody that comes around back after, hey, man, what you got in the bag? Like, what are you eating, So it's just, you got to make that commitment to yourself.
And you know what? You keep saying it, and I absolutely love it. You have to make a commitment to yourself. And you can't let anybody or anything deter what you want to do. Guys, we
Mhm.
have a conscience. If that conscience is telling you something, you better listen. I promise you better listen, because the only thing worse than not reaching your potential is regret.
Yeah.
And that shit is heavy. It's heavier than any bunker gear, any weight vest, any barbell. It's heavy, guys. So understand that you're going to be anything that you strive to change in life will be met with resistance. You're going to be met with people, things that are in the way. It's not convenient. It's this guy's birthday. It's New Year's. It's this. It's that. It's like there's always going to be something. So if you don't understand that that's intentional, that's just life being life, and you need to understand how to maneuver around it, then you'll never be successful, right? And you can't look at it. You can't look at life that way, guys. I'm an ultra endurance athlete. For anybody who doesn't know, and what that means is I'm a psychopath, and 26.2 miles isn't enough, right? So I run ultra is defined as anything over 30 miles, and I've done a couple 50 milers. I've done a couple 100-mile races, and people ask me all the time, how do you do it? It's 1 mile. However many miles it is, it's really only 1 mile, because that's all I care about. And when we're talking about growth and overcoming, your bad habits, you guys have to break it down to literally one meal. I wouldn't even say day. You're not even there yet, right? One meal. Control your one meal. When you wake up, let's not put garbage in our mouth. And the funny thing, Nate, about the firehouse and stuff like that, unless you're getting on a physique floor, you can eat with the guys. All right?
Yeah.
You're talking about one meal. Let's call it lunch and dinner, right? You're just talking 2 meals. Even if those 2 meals are shit food, understand that you need to do two things. You need to either decrease the amount, or like you said, you need to increase your own food to match your goals or your macro needs, right? But
Right.
you're part of the guys. You know what I mean? Just understand that their fuck it attitude should not affect your goal and your trajectory, because we've all been there, Nate. That fuck it attitude, I'm
Yeah.
sorry for my language, guys, but it's the truth. And what I mean by that attitude is whatever. I'll have a sub for lunch. I'll have a burrito with cinnamon rolls for breakfast. I'll have 10 Oreos. Get back from a run. It's 2 a.m. There's cookies on the table. I'll have 6 cookies. Wake up in the morning, have coffee with half a gallon of creamer. That attitude will put you in a bad spot. And tell me if I'm wrong, man. What you eat directly affects how you feel, not only physically but about yourself.
Oh, 100%, man. There's a quote from a gentleman who passed away on a firefighter that passed away on our department. I think he passed away in like '96. Gary Picari, and it was his famous quote. It's all over Phoenix. It's "Live your interview." You
Mm.
know, and if to me that just encompasses everything about being a firefighter. Like when you really look back at why did you want to be a firefighter, um, health and wellness plays a huge role in that. You wanted to be on this job because it's a physical job. You wanted to be able to kick ass every day. You want to be able to work out. You want to be able to get in a house fire. You want to be able to hang off the mountain, do some, mountain rescue stuff. You wanted that. In order to do that, you have to be on top of your fitness game. You have to be on top of your mental game, and you can't let anybody take that from you. Like for me, man, my backstory. Like I grew up in Buffalo, New York. Okay, I was a volunteer firefighter for 5 years. I fell in love with the job at an early age, man. Like I remember my hometown, Grand Island, New York. Like you would hear the trucks going. It was an all volunteer department, and and then my dad would throw us in the car and we'd go check out what was going on. Like kind of like a fire buff thing. And that's when like the romance began with the fire service for me. And then I eventually got on that department as a volunteer. And dude, I remember specifically the day I said, I don't want to work in friggin' corporate America. This is what I want. I was riding on an open cab truck along the Niagara River and going to a training, and I'm like, this is it, man. This is what I want to freaking do. Like, this is the coolest job ever in the world. And it truly like hit me right then and there. Like, this is what I want to do. And so I picked up sticks, man. Well, first I took 2 tests with Phoenix. I flew back and forth like 4 times. Finally said, screw it. I'm moving out there, moved out here and got hired. And, I made that commitment to myself. What am I doing when I look back at Gary's quote to live my interview? What am I doing to fulfill that dream and continue to have that romance for the job every single day? What am I doing to do that? And you're right, man. It is the commitment to yourself to do it. To No one else can do it for you, and you can't let what somebody else tells you change that. You just can't do it. I had so many people telling me you'll never make it in Phoenix. You're never. Why are you going out there? You're never going to get hired. Like, well, guess what? 18 years now, I'm on the job. I'm at the station that I used to stop by after the test to say hi to the guys. So tell me I can't. That's what I love. I love people that tell me I can't, or why are you eating that way? Live your life. I am living my life. I'm living my life. Hell yeah, and I'm doing it well.
And you know what, bro? That goes to show you're living it your way. You know what I mean? And guys, you got to understand, you're gonna have to take the lonely road. The road less traveled is where the gold's at. I promise you. The
Oh
highway
yeah.
full of fucking traffic, full of people that are upset, that are mentally weak. You don't want to be on that avenue. I promise. The only thing on that avenue is broken promises and short satisfaction that the next day is gone. At the end of the day, you know what I mean. You're gonna have to hook a left and go down that road that doesn't have a smooth ride. That you're gonna run out of gas, and you're gonna have to start walking.
And I
And
love that. I love that. I love the hard road, man. And I think you're the same way, obviously, with your ultras. That's psycho. I don't know. That's not my jam. But I'll go out and grind in the 110-degree heat and work out in my turnout gear and just totally drain myself, or just do a workout in my driveway. The same thing, I think we both thrive on that mental side of it, where body, your body's telling you you can't, and you have to dig into this part right here. I talk about it. Get rid of that inner bitch
Mhm.
and throw it out the window and keep going forward. And I think that totally applies to fitness. It applies to life, family decisions. It applies, to your nutrition. Like, you get so much noise chirping at you, and you can't take the time to sit there and listen to it. Otherwise, you're going to get sucked in, and that's you don't want to be sucked in. My path is this way. I don't care what all the noise says out there.
And you just said it, man. The inner bitch, you got to get them out. There's a guy I admire. He's changed my life. He's one of my few mentors. And guys, to me, a mentor is somebody who I strive to be. And in this world, there's very few people like that I get to call a friend, a brother, and someone that I know. And Bedros Keuilian has always taught me that we're in a car, right? We all have our own personal vehicle, and in my car, in your car, we've got in the passenger seat the inner bitch. Right behind us, right here in the rear seat, is our inner advocate. And for some reason, the inner bitch always makes its way to the front seat.
Mm-hmm.
And you will live a life of regret and without fulfillment if you don't one day say, you know what? I'm pulling this car over. I'm going to choke this guy out. You're going to the trunk, dude. I'm here for me. I'm here to support myself. I'm here to be my biggest cheerleader, and I'm here to guide myself to where I want to go, right? And it's true, man. At least here in America, and I love this country. God bless it. You're the only thing in your own way. There's nothing else in your way. I don't care what circumstances you have, man. The ability to be born in this country a nobody and die a billionaire is it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
we still have people that make excuses, that blame the circumstances, that have the victim mindset. And I always talk about that. Guys, listen, stand up for yourself. Stand for something, right? And people, I'm sure you face it, dude. They go with the crowd. And
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be yourself, but have an opinion, right? Like, obviously understand when the right time is for certain things. But even then, like what you're only here for a short time. So why are you hiding behind a curtain? Be
Yeah,
honest.
and I agree, man, and I think a lot of one thing that people get caught up in is thinking that by advocating for yourself, by being a little bit selfish with certain things, is wrong, and it's not, because in doing that, like in making sure that I'm taking care of my sleep, I'm taking care of recovery, I'm taking care of my fitness, I'm taking care of my nutrition, I'm also taking care of my family, of my crew, making my department better. It is a holistic approach. When you really dial in and take care of yourself, you are being generous to the world. You are being generous to your world, right? Because when you feel better, your attitude's better, you create better relationships, you're able to continue to keep and cultivate relationships. It makes everything better when you commit to yourself to be better.
Mhm. Absolutely. And at the end of the day, you are an asset to the world. But you have to be selfish. People say it all the time. Um, and it took me a while to change my mindset. You have to be the guy on the plane that puts his mask on first. When the oxygen mask drops, I was always against putting my mask on first because I want to help people. We're in a noble profession, public servants. Before you got to the fire department,
Hmm.
you had to have some type of, at least for me, we had to get certified. And if you didn't get certified, when they did hire you, you had to go through training that was 12 to 20 weeks
Hmm.
to prepare for that situation. So they selfishly they trained you first, and then they put you on a truck.
Mhm.
It's the same thing goes for life. You have to put yourself first, train yourself, so that when the time comes, you can help everybody else.
Well, and I think you see the magnetism of that too when you start really taking care of yourself and putting that effort in, the people that you attract in your life and like, for example, this conversation we're having, like if I wasn't putting myself out there and you weren't putting yourself out there, we would have never came together to have this conversation.
Absolutely.
Brad with Reliant Fitness, I would have never met him.
Right.
You know, guys that come to you and ask you questions about, hey, dude, how do I get a little bit healthier? What would you recommend I do? Those conversations don't happen if you aren't putting in the work. If you're the guy sitting in that recliner with their legs up and the soda pop in their hand, watching TV all day, waiting for the bell to ring, that guy doesn't get those questions. The guy that's out there grinding and coming in with his shirt drenched and just sweaty and this is one I love, man. I love when people say, man, you shouldn't be doing that on shift. You're not gonna have enough for the
Oh,
fire. I'm like, bullshit.
we were getting.
I hate
I was going there quickly, but go ahead. I'm glad you fucking.
good. I mean, it drives me nuts, man. Like, okay, I understand. Like, if you're doing just an absolute crazy workout where you're going to be on the floor huffing and puffing, yeah, but you should be able to do a skills course. You should be able to lift weights. You should be able to do a pretty intense cardio session and then still be able to go fight the fire. If you can't, you've got some problems that you need to address, because that is not a it drives me nuts when people say that, because you absolutely should be in good enough shape to do that. And the guys that say that are the ones that are afraid to get their ass off that straddle and put in the work and stress themselves out, physically, mentally, because they're weak. They're weak and they can't. They're worried about being able to perform. Well, guess what? If that's your worry, then you need your ass to be out there getting prepared to do the job. Because what happens if you have two fires back to back? Were you just going to call it quits? I already had one fire. I already worked really hard. I'm sorry. You're like, I can't do this one. Like, come on.
Yeah. No. So, guys, just so you guys are understanding clearly, because he got passionate, and I love it. He sent it. There's this thing for anybody that's coming into fire service, and people that are already firefighters are very well familiar with the individuals who patronize the guys and girls who are trying to better themselves, and they rest on this standing ground of, well, if you work out now, you won't be any good to me on a call. And it's your job to train for that call. It's your job to be ready for that call. And if we have a mindset that we're not going to do anything to save ourselves for that call, what type of person's showing up to that call? Let me ask you something, Jack, that's telling me that I won't be worth anything. What are you worth right now on that call? Because me tired, I'm worth 10 times what you're worth fresh.
Right.
And like you said, it's an excuse. It's an excuse. And guys, understand, you're getting in a profession where it's a team work environment. Like, you're not fighting a fire by yourself. You're not making a grab by yourself. You're not doing anything alone. You're not a cop in a fucking car driving around with Starbucks and a box of donuts. Like, you've got a crew of people. You're not going to be put in a situation where everybody needs only your help and nobody's going to help you. So when me and Nate are out there crushing ourselves, and we have developed a level of fitness because our whole career we've been out there training for the call. When the call comes in and we are tired, first of all, we will recover fast enough to be an asset on scene. Second of all, if we are tired, we're still going to be able to perform at a tired level. And with that, we'll show other people the heart that we have. Because sometimes, guys, it's not about fitness. It's about heart. And you can't train for heart, guys. You either have it or you don't. And the people that have it are the people that are here for the right reasons. And it's just that simple.
It is, and one of our greatest assets and our greatest liability lies between these two ears, and here, dude. If you don't have it here, you will quit. You will quit. You have to be able to push past. If you've had a hard workout, and you're right, Julian. Like my truck has 5 guys on it because we're downtown. If I did a really hard workout and we're going to a working fire, I may say, listen, guys, I'll take the plug. We call them plugs here in Phoenix. I'll take the hydrant, the plug, and then I'll catch up to you guys. Let you guys go ahead and take the line, and I'll come in back up. Like, your crew knows how to work with one another. Your crew knows that Nate's dialed in. If he's going to take the plug, he's going to come in and he'll be good to go. Like, you got to, sorry,
No, no,
you got to be able to be ready to do the job. And if, man, you hit it on the head. Like, if you can't work out and still perform, then what are you worth? What are you worth on this job? It doesn't make sense to me that people, like, and I don't have anything profound to say about it besides it doesn't make sense to me that people bag on folks for working out during shift. And there's some departments where I've talked to guys where they don't allow you to work out on shift,
not,
which
yeah.
is unbelievable to me. What kind of message is that sending to the culture of the fire department that you can't work out on shift?
No, that right there, I'll tell anybody that has that problem, seek employment elsewhere immediately. That is unacceptable. That's a travesty to not only the fire service but the citizens that require a high level of service. It's I will say this, bro. I will say it is our job as guys who hold the line to show that you know what it's bigger than training on duty just to get better.
Yeah,
You're not just training for the job. You're
yeah,
you live a life where if you're sick, if you work a 48, you still have to show up. So for me, a lot of my training, Nate, is preparing for that moment. That moment when I am beat up, when I am behind the ball, when I am a shell of myself, I can still show up and be better than 80% of the people out there.
dude. And you just sparked something in me right there, and you're right. uh, Story. I took my whole family kayaking down. There's a salt river here, and the water was kind of fast. My youngest was, kind of uncomfortable. We came to a bend in the river, right? She lost her paddle, and she got pinned up against this brush on the wrong side of the river. If you know anything about swift water, there was brush there, and there was who knows how far underneath it went. She was holding on to that to the tree that was there, and the kayak was kind of stuck on her, and it was a very bad situation. Like, me knowing swift water and having training in that, like, I was, holy shit, this is legitimately a life and death situation with my own kid. I was already downriver because I tried to throw her the paddle and get, coach her to paddle away from that.
Right.
She got hung up. I was able to, because of the work I put in and day out, paddle back up river, grab her, and push her into the middle of the river and have her float down to my other daughter that was waiting in a little eddy. Like, that right there, to me, was the most important call I've ever been on in my life. And had I not been prepared physically, had I been the fat ass who never works out, who sits on the strata, who doesn't care about their fitness, doesn't care about their nutrition, would I have been able to paddle up that river? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And what would the outcome have been? I don't know. I mean, I think about that a lot, and I am very grateful for the work and the commitment that I put in to my health and to myself.
It's bigger than the job. It's bigger than the citizens. I think our job gives us the opportunity to establish a training ground for life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we do have a very hard, strenuous job. And if you can prepare at an elite level for this job, life is a piece of cake. It should be.
Yeah.
You know, it should be. So, man, dude, I could talk to you for hours, man, but I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you. Where can people find you on the internet, and kind of talk about, what advice you would give anybody who's fighting that, hey, I'm just surrounded by negative people and I can't get out of the funk? What would you tell them?
Stand on the shoulders of giants, guys. Like, find somebody that resonates with you, whether it's Julian, whether it's Brad Dunn. There's a whole host of people out there, whether it's me. You can find me at Nader Vision on Instagram. Um, there's so many guys and gals out there that you can lean on and learn from and build with. Seek them out. Make them the people that you listen to, not this voice over here. Have them help you out, and make that commitment to yourself. It is more important, like Julian said, than the job. It's for your family. It's for your health. It's for your longevity. Make that your priority, and let us help you out if you need it.
I love it, bro. Thank you so much, dude. Guys,
All
enjoy.
right.